G'day Dark Realmers, it's horror author and illustrator Michael J. Elliott here with you again. If you're looking for a fantasy novel with a touch of horror about it, I've got a great recommendation for you today, because today I'm going to be reviewing Cindy L. Schneider's Nightfire. Hey, if this is your first time to the Diaries, thank you so much for joining us. And if you want to keep up with the best in horror movies, books, trivia and creepypasta, hit that subscribe button and bell notification and you'll be up to date with everything from the world of horror. Okay, Dark Realmers, well, this is a fantastic book and I can't wait to review it for you, so let's get started. Yeah. Okay, Dark Realmers, well, I have been a huge C.L. Schneider fan ever since I read her trilogy, magnificent trilogy I might add, Crown of Stones. And when Cindy had her launch party for her new series, which is this one, and asked if I would, participate and be one of the co-hosts, I was more than happy to agree. And as a thank you gift, Cindy gifted me a copy of Nightfire, and it blew me away. It really did. Now, it's when you've had a magnificent series like Cindy has with the Crown of Stones, you wonder how is a new series going to be, and especially because Cindy has set this one primarily in a suburban environment, okay? And basically, we start off the story with Dahlia Nite. Now, Dahlia Nite comes from another dimension or another realm, and she's a Lyrican. And a Lyrican, I hope I pronounced that right, Cindy, please forgive me if I don't, but Lyricans are a hybrid between dragons and humans. So, wow, that's mind-blowing anyway. But they have the ability to shift between dragon form and human form and morph somewhere in between. Now, Dahlia Nite, we pick up the story where she's escaping. She's been sentenced to death because she hasn't carried out an execution that the guild, which is sort of like the ruling body of the dragons, has ordered her to do. And she escapes to Earth. Now, that's a pulse pounding start. Then we pick up the story, and Dahlia has been on Earth for 97 years and hasn't changed a bit, which I thought was totally awesome. It brings into that whole play, how do you, keep your identity without raising suspicions. Now, Dahlia has taken on the identity of an arson investigator or an arson consultant. But she's also sort of a bit like a huntress, because she's determined to stop other creatures coming from other worlds to Earth, which will cause all sorts of problems. But she isn't doing it, from the goodness of her heart. Primarily, it's also because she doesn't want humans to find her own world and the worlds beyond, because let's face it, we're humans and we stuff everything we touch, hey Dark Realmers. So the very first part of the book is Dahlia Nite hunting down these creatures called Del Young, and she goes into an abandoned building. And I tell you what, as a horror writer, this scene was just magnificent. It was just horrifying. And we get a taste of what Dahlia can do when she wields fire, and it's just brilliant. Then the story progresses to where she's sent to investigate a series of really grisly murders, and these murders, at the crime scene, she finds bodies that have been incinerated from the top down, and the rest of their corpse has been nailed to the floor. Now, I found that as a horror writer, like her descriptions, the way she's written it, she hasn't gone over the top with gore or anything like that, because she's done it very much from, Dahlia perspective. So Dahlia is used to death and murder and so forth, but even she finds this horrifying. Now, the way Cindy's written this, you know, it takes, as I've said many times before, Dark Realms, it takes a lot for someone to make me really draw a breath with a description of horror. Okay, and Cindy does this brilliantly. And Cindy actually admitted to me in a chat we were having recently that she actually toned these down. So God knows what they would have been like otherwise, okay? I mean, I could have handled them. I don't know if any others could. But this is a brilliant novel because it combines the fantasy elements of Dahlia with her world, and she's also on the run too. So there are, you know, guild operatives who are trained assassins looking for her. Now, they haven't looked for her for a while, and she's sort of a little bit under the radar. But the fact that, you know, other creatures come through, and now she's got to solve this murder, which may involve some other Lyrican from her own world. And it's just brilliant. Now, Dahlia Nite is one of the best characters I've read, and I am so all for strong female characters. And Cindy doesn't make her like a super heroine. She's not, you know, invulnerable. She's not, you know, immortal or anything like that. She has flaws and she has weaknesses, okay? And they are both physical and of course mental. And that's what's great about Dahlia Nite as a character, okay? She can hold her own in a fight, no worries about that, but she does get wounded and she does get hurt, and you know, she does feel for these victims, you know, and as the body count piles up and we get closer to finding out who is responsible for this, the elements of things that are happening on her own world start coming and starting to play. Now, Cindy has done a magnificent job of creating a whole cast of characters who aren't by any means incidental to Dahlia or the story. They are very strong in their own right. And the detective she gets paired with, Detective Creed, he's a very interesting character because he's, I suppose I looked at him as a little bit like Fox Mulder from X-Files, because he believes, I won't tell you why he has his attitude and what has shaped his character without spoiling it for you, Dark Realmers, but he is very much a believer in things aren't always what they seem, you know, and there's more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy, Horatio, that type thing, okay? And it's very good because Cindy has carefully sort of almost given us that he almost has worked through and discovered that Dahlia's not all she seems to be. He's not quite sure, but look, you know, he's typical human. Like when you're confronted with the unknown, these Lyrican who are murdering people, you know, he logically assumes they've got some sort of super advanced, you know, flamethrower or something like that. But he's very much, he's not sure whether to trust Dahlia. He's not sure if, you know, he's just fooling himself, you know, with this logical explanation and so forth. So that character is wonderful. Then there's a character of Sal, who Dahlia has known his father, and she was a friend of his father's, and she saw him being born, and now he's a grown man with kids and grandchildren, and she's never told him that she's a Lyrican, but Sal is convinced she's a vampire. That's why she looks the same always. But he's there, you know, he doesn't question it. He knows that what she is trying to do is very important, okay? And he's a great character. And there's also my favourite character is Evan. Now, he's a policeman who is so much, reminds me of my inner geek, okay? Because when he discovers what Dahlia is, he's like a kid is like, oh wow, you're a Lyrican, oh my god, I can't believe this. And he's very much has this enthusiasm. Now he gets, you know, badly injured and so forth like that, but that he takes on the role almost like he wants to be Dahlia's sidekick. And even though she does everything to discourage him, and she says, look, this is more dangerous than you can know, he's like, no, I'm going to be your Robin, you know, to your Batman. And he's a wonderful this character gives a lot of light relief in times when Dahlia's either gone through something very, very dark, or she's about to go through something very, very dark. Now this is, as I said, the characters are wonderful. Cindy is fantastic at creating battle scenes. You actually feel like you're there watching Dahlia, you know, shoot flames, or, you know, transform to become more dragon-like and gain scales to protect herself. And it's just wonderful. I said to Cindy, I was reading this in my mind, but I could see Angelina Jolie playing Dahlia Nite if it ever became a movie, which thoroughly deserves it, okay? And she said, yeah, you know, Dahlia's a redhead, but hey, it's Hollywood, you dye your hair. But anyway, Dark Realmers, it's, if you love fantasy, okay, but not high fantasy, I'm not talking Tolkien, you know, and, you know, so-and-so begat so-and-so, and there's 500 timelines to keep. No, it's very straightforward, but that doesn't make it a dull read in any way, shape or form. The descriptions of her homeworld, Temeria, and, you know, the creatures that are there, and, you know, all these other worlds too that are, you know, somewhere in these, sort of like a multiverse, where they come through, and, you know, it's just brilliant like that. It's a fantastic read because, as I said, it is fantasy, but like I've said to you before, Dark Realmers, genres aren't cut and dried. Cindy does a brilliant job in this of creating some horrifying scenes, and the villain in this scene, in this book, is unbelievably. She has written this character so well. She is an undeniable psychopath, but combined with the fact that she's one of Dahlia's own kind, so that makes it uber scary, okay? This is a brilliant book. It really is, Dark Realmers, and it's the first, okay? The first in, I don't know if Cindy is planning a trilogy or perhaps a whole series, you know, more than 3, but it's wonderful because the story wraps up, and it's not a cliffhanger that we're left with at the end. It's more of a question that Dahlia has wrapped up everything in the first novel, and we know there's more to come, okay? But that doesn't make you sit there and think, well, you know, she hasn't, you know, finished it, she hasn't done it. No, it's, everything is completely wrapped up for you, and it's like a gentle hint of, well, look forward to book number 2, because this is what Dahlia's got to come up against next time, okay? Now, I can thoroughly recommend this book, Dark Realmers, to you. It's, as I said, I can't praise it enough because it's just wonderful. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to, so much looking forward to book number 2, and, you know, just the you know, the progression to see where Cindy takes Dahlia, the character, you know, and whether Cindy sort of decides to perhaps move the story arc, you know, a few years in the future, which of course Dahlia sort of has this huge lifespan, so it's a blink in an eye, but it'd be fascinating. So I am dying to looking forward to reading the next one in the series, Dark Realmers. Well, there you go. That's my review of Cindy L. Schneider's Nightfire. can find it on Amazon and other sites, other platforms, okay? And I do recommend you check it out because she's a magnificent author. She's one of my top 5 authors, I'd say. And also too, if you know, you like that sort of how I've described things to you with the darkness and the fantasy of Nightfire, don't forget to check out her other magnificent series, Crown of Stones, because Cindy L. Schneider is only one of, I think, 2 or 3 authors that made me cry at the end of the series, and that's, you know, gold stars all around. Okay, Dark Realmers, I won't waffle on anymore because I can't give away too many plot details, and I can't you know, give you specifics without ruining the enjoyment for you, which I don't like to do. So check that out for yourself. I'd like to say a huge thank you to Cindy for the advanced copy, and I was just so stoked, you know, being part of the launch of it too. And as I said, I'm so looking forward to book 2. So there you go, Dark Realmers. That's my review of Nightfire. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give us a thumbs up and let me know if you've read the book yourself or if you're really curious to read it, because I assure you, you're not going to be disappointed. Okay, Dark Realmers, well, I'll be back next time with another video for you, and I'll see you again very, very soon. And as I always say, stay in the light, Dark Realmers. Bye for now.